Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dokkan Battle video, and today we are taking on Cell Max here. Now, what I'm doing is I am commentating over a replay. This is obviously a very hard, ridiculous fight, right? So I'm going to show you, this is the team build that I used to beat it. So basically this is an LR Gods team. Obviously Tech God Goku is a beast here. Int Broly shines really, really well here. He's got stacking defense, damage reduction, and type advantage versus the last phase. And then we have Tech Androids and Pycon, and then we have the Year 7 Super Saiyan 4s. But Tech Androids and Pycon, they're kind of like a theme here. And you're going to notice Tech Androids actually aren't on the leader skill. So the thing is this last phase of Cell Max is so ridiculously hard. You basically have to not engage in the fight, and the way to do that is to actually Ghost Usher the turns out. So by having the androids and Pycon around to basically Ghost Usher 2 turns, that's kind of the strategy used to beat this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and start the video, and I'm going to commentate through it, but I do want to kind of give my overall thoughts on this Cell Max fight and what I think about it, because I kind of have some issues with it. We'll talk about that. So let's go ahead and jump in. So I recorded this on my phone. I did several attempts. I was actually camping this week, and that's why this is probably like getting a lot later than other YouTubers. They probably already got their videos out and everything. But I did this the first time with just like an Androids team. Like, oh, this seems seeming pretty easy. I got, like, the first two phases are not bad. Like, they're fine. And like the second phase is like he AoEs, but if you have enough defense, like most units can tank it just fine. It's whatever. And then you get to the last phase and you're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. So right here, I'm going to float Pycon off. And my goal is just to have basically Pycon in slot 3 and Tech Androids in slot 3. And then I'm just going to have 2 turns where they're floating around. And then trying to get their turns basically back to back during the final Cell Max to wipe 2 turns, right? It's kind of the strategy here. Now, my problem with this fight, like, I'm okay with difficult content. I'm a proponent of, like, gacha games need difficult content, right? Like, you need content that warrants having the new best characters to beat them. But this Cell Max is like way over-tuned. Actually, when it first dropped, there were people thinking that this was actually impossible to beat on global. JP has some really nice pieces with their Future Saga units that are really, really nice, and they've actually got some int units that are really good here because the final phase is tech, right? So the problem I have with this Cell Max is that the last phase literally hits so hard that, like, a good defensive unit, like a 300k defensive unit, will actually still take like 300k normals. Like, it's absolutely absurd. I did a run with, I tried like Universe 6 girls, because my thought is maybe I can run 2 Tech Khalifas. They can like kind of auto dodge through it, because if you have enough U6 Peppy Gals, they basically have guaranteed dodge. It's not on the untransformed, like the SSR of Khalifa, it's not guaranteed, but it's really high, right? So I tried that, and like, I spent the whole event stacking my Tech Cal and Khalifas and STR Kales, and they just got one shot. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, even stacking all, like, this defense stacking units just don't work here if you're trying to, like, pure brunt defend, right? So this is why Broly works, who you're seeing right here, is because he's not only stacking defense, but you got to have type advantage, so he's basically guarding, and he's got damage reduction. Cell Max, the final form, is darn near impossible just to brute force defend it. Like, you need damage reduction, you need guard, or you need dodge. Like that, like, you just can't defend him. And so the fight seems ridiculously unfair. So the two things that I think make it particularly difficult, it's not even necessarily how hard he hits, but it's how hard he hits combined with the fact that you can't bring damage reduction items. So they went a step beyond Red Zone. Red Zone says, okay, you can have one item, but you can choose whatever you want. This event says there's actually no limit to how many items you can bring. You can, when you go into it, you'll see all 4 item slots are actually opened up, but you're only allowed to bring Sensu Bean. So like anything but Sensu Bean, it'll block out. So you literally have no damage reduction. You don't have the option for damage reduction. You don't have the option to Ghost Usher. None of that. So all of your damage reduction, all of your Ghost Usher has to come from the team, which is why we're running Pycon, and which is why we're running the Tech Androids, even though they're not on the leader skill, right? So here, turns like this get kind of scary when you've got either like Pycon or the Tech Androids, and you're trying to go up against these AoE attacks, right? Because they're going to get hit really hard. The year 7s are good here because they bring a lot of power and they bring it quick, because really you're not going to go against Cell Max as final form. You've got no chance if you're going to try to stall out in a long fight while stacking defense. He is just too powerful. So it's got to be a combination of the right type of defense with ridiculously powerful offense, because you got to burst him down quick. In this run you're going to see here, if I had to go even one more turn, I probably would have lost. Or even if I hadn't killed him on the attack that I did, like, because I think I kill him with my slot 2 character. If that character didn't kill him, I probably would have died in slot 2 or slot 3 of that actual turn. So what makes this Cell Max so frustrating is that not only is it like beyond difficult to the point where like literally only a handful of units in the entire game are viable. One reason that that's bad is it just instantly made me feel like 95% of the game wasn't good, which isn't true, right? Like there's a ton of really good units in the game, but it's just Cell Max annihilates everything. So what Cell Max really is, it's really like you're bringing in specific niche units just to beat him. And it doesn't, so you're going to see people with like Int Hercule on their team, right? And you're going to see people with a lot of Pycons and a lot of these tech androids even off. I'm actually reading my tech android passive here because I wanted to make sure I understood what the conditions were for the Ghost Usher, because I noticed on this particular turn their Ghost Usher was not active. And so what I saw in there was that, okay, the enemy's health has to be above 35%. So this enemy's health was too low, because I was getting nervous, right? Like, why am I bringing tech androids if I can't Ghost Usher? So it's going to work here. This turn's scary, though. Look, we're taking a group attack, and the tech androids literally have no defense. So watch how much damage we take from this group attack with the tech androids here. Okay, so here's a group attack. This is going to sting. Even Broly took 22k with damage reduction and defense, but they dodged. Okay, had the tech androids not dodged that, I could have been one-shot there, most likely. So even if you're like bringing a character like them and just sliding them in slot 3, like they are not safe because of that cell. So even there, we had to like kind of rush through quick. Otherwise, those tech androids would have been a dead duck. Now, this turn here turned out ridiculously fortunate. So this is my one turn where I don't have a Ghost Usher, and it's actually very hard to get a turn you can survive. We got so lucky that Cell was putting every attack on God Goku, and the 2 year 7s only had one attack after them, which they could cancel out. So we got crazy lucky here that we were in a situation where we literally have like one of like a handful of units that can actually tank Cell Max, which is this Goku. And this is the other thing. On so many of my runs, Cell Max Super's first slot 1, like no matter what, 300k, and that was 77% damage reduction, you guys. 300k was 77% damage reduction. Absolutely ridiculous. I had Cell Max Super attack like Int Broly or like some other unit with really good defense, and he still hits you for over a mil. Like, it's like you literally get to this guy and you just instantly die. It's so ridiculous. So here, I would have been dead on this turn if Cell had put even one attack on either of these year 7s, but because he was attacking exactly one time on each, and I could nullify his attack. So what I hate about the way this Cell Max is built is it's poor design, because they made him so difficult. The only way to beat him is to actually avoid the fight, like to not engage in the boss. We talk about this in the default community a lot. There have been some very bad, difficult fights in that game where literally you need to have 1 or 2 specific characters to beat the game, or you cheese the fights where you don't engage with the boss mechanics because they're so annoying. And that's what Dokkan's doing right here. Basically, the way most global players are actually beating this is doing this strategy that I'm doing here, where the year 7s are canceling out the turns, and then you get this. So this worked out perfect. Now here's Pycon. Pycon active skill, Ghost Usher. So literally, we have to take away Cell's entire turn. There's no way this rotation survives even a normal attack at this point, right? So because I wiped the turn, I don't have to use a Senzu Bean or anything. I'm just going to attack through. I decide to transform my year 7 here because I want to get the ultimate attack off. So that's the other thing, is we're poking in all these extra ultimate attacks to do damage. Now I get a little bit nervous on this turn because I know I've got tech androids coming up on the next turn and I need them to Ghost Usher. But if we put Cell Max below 35%, they actually won't get it, and my run is over at that point. There's no way I survive that turn. So Luckily here, we do a lot of damage, but Cell is still comfortably at the end of this turn. He's going to be above 35% health. But I was getting a little bit nervous because, Broly's doing a lot of additionals here. He's doing a lot of damage, which I want him to do. And then my Year 7 is going to do a lot of additionals as well and do a lot of damage. But I think we get him to like 45 to 50%, something in that range for the next turn. The crazy thing is this was pretty much like a perfect setup for me. So the other thing I don't like about beating Cell Max, I mean, a lot of Dokkan is like this, but it is so RNG dependent, right? Because, like I said, there's literally, other than like Tech God Goku, I don't know any other units. Like, Broly built up a lot, or like Int Majin Vegeta. Like, those are the only type of units that can actually tank just Cell Max's normals, okay? Like, that God Goku might be the only one that can actually tank a super, which we did for 300k, which 300k you usually wouldn't even call that tanking, but in this case, yes, that was tanking. Alright, so we got Cell at about 40% health here. We did the Ghost Usher. I didn't have to use a Sensu Bean, but I did here because they locked the androids in slot 1, and I really wanted them in slot 3. For some ridiculous reason, if I got back to this rotation, I did not want the tech androids to pop up again. So this very well could have been a no item run, but I needed a Sensu Bean there because I did not like where the androids were put. So here I'm just trying to figure out, like, how can I drop the orbs in a way to get my Year 7 a 20 key super, and I just didn't see a good way to drop the orbs down. So we kind of end up with a suboptimal turn here. So what happens is we're not able to finish Cell Max off here, so we got to go another turn. So I'm getting really nervous at this point because after this turn, I know I'm out of Ghost Ushers, right? So, okay, I've got to engage in the fight. I got to hope Cell Max doesn't super me, otherwise I'm out of here. Because other than God Goku, I don't know that any other unit in the game can survive that, right? Maybe, because even AGL Golden Frieza, with type disadvantage, he has 90% damage reduction, but I would not be surprised if even him only taking 10% damage would still get you killed. Maybe Tech Frieza, because he's got 80%. I mean, there are some damage reduction units out there, but there are not many that can actually take Cell Max's super attack and survive. So I have a couple of choices here. So I'm going to pop the ultimate attacks, right? So I can either put the Super Saiyan 4s in slot 1 and hope they counter a super if one happens, but I kind of play it safer where I'm banking on Cell not supering, because I feel like if Cell supers, I'm going to die anyways, and Broly's going to get a Dokkan attack. So had I not used the Sensu Bean last turn, I definitely would have had to use it here. And so my hope is dear Lord, please let me kill this guy. Look at 50k normal there from Broly, who has stacked defense quite a bit at this point and has damage reduction. Like, his normal attack damage is absolutely bananas. It's absolutely crazy. Like, this event actually made me, like, feel bad after playing it. Like, I kind of felt bad about Dokkan. Like, I felt so bad about all my units. Like, I went to my units I was link leveling, and I was instantly like, why am I even link leveling these? None of these are going to be able to beat Cell Max. And you just have to, like, not think that way, right? Somebody in my Discord made a good point that I agree with. Like, we just have to hope that this is just a very odd one of, like, that they don't do this all the time. And that to come out with something this difficult. All right, so luckily that's where we get the kill there, right? So absolutely crazy, but, because if you think back to the original Super Battle Road, like, yes, that was really hard when it came out. I wouldn't say it was on this level, though. And the thing with even the Cell Max, like, yes, new units are going to come out. It's going to get easier over time, but it's never been scaled this ridiculously. Like, it's crazy how ridiculously scaled this was in the difficult fashion, right? So, there you go, guys. That's my Cell Max run. Do not feel bad in the slightest if you can't beat this. Like, this is absolutely insane. Because the other thing, so once again, my two big problems with it, I had to screenshot it, of course. My two big problems with it, let me go ahead and, I'm going to just go ahead and pause it here. My two big problems with this fight. One is that, like, yes, if a new difficult fight comes up, it definitely should not be something a newer player can beat, right? But when something like this comes out, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm kind of like a mini whale. I've got nearly 600 rainbow units. I've been playing the game pretty much every day since year 2. And I've got a really good box. Like, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just telling you all I have a very good box. And literally when, like, a handful, like 10 or less units in the game can be used in this fight. Like, that's not good design to make a fight that hard that so much of your box is just instantly useless. Like, that's the part where I was feeling really dejected, was when I was like looking at my units. I was looking through my box trying to figure out team builds for this thing, and it just made like all my progress, all my units just feel worthless. And like I said, I don't want you guys to feel like that, and if you start feeling like that way, just let that go. Remember, it's just one event in the game. The rewards aren't even the craziest. I think it's like 5 stones or something for that last stage. And the point I was getting to that was made in my Discord was, I think we just have to hope that this is just a very much one of, and that this isn't going to be the trend moving forward, that they're going to keep bringing out stuff of this level. I think over time, you know, units are going to rise to the Cell Max level, and then at that point, once there's a more variety, I think that can take that on, then sure, do that. Or if you're going to do this Cell Max, like this Cell Max, even if it allowed like 2 to 4 items, would still be ridiculous. I mean, 4 items would definitely make it a lot easier, but like even if it was 1 item with, but you could use Whis, like that would actually help. Because with damage reduction for any unit, then a lot of units then become more viable to tank here. Which that's kind of like what Red Zone is, right? Like, Red Zone is probably like the proper like highest difficulty in the game right now, and this game just took that and said, screw it, we're going times 10, which they did. I think it's not as bad on JP. Like I said, those Future Saga units, like, you've got that LR Zamasu, they've got the LR Golden Frieza, they've got the Trunks and Vegeta card that's really good. And they're int, which really helps as well. So I definitely think that helps. So anyways, guys, I've ranted on long enough. Let me know what you guys think of this Cell Max event. If you beat it, let me know kind of what teams you're using. I'm really interested to see other team builds for it. But honestly, the variety isn't crazy. Like, it's going to be pretty similar units you're going to be seeing on all these runs right now on Global. But the one thing I will say is this does make me really excited for the worldwide banners, because they've got to make the Cell and Goku like viable for this event, to get people to want to summon for them. So that makes me really excited for how good the Cooler and the Goku are going to be. I might have said Cell earlier, but Cooler and Goku for worldwide. I'm very excited for that. So anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.